Everybody to another session with Nourish. We have two very amazing gentlemen with us who have been running an amazing business and quite a niche actually they've created for themselves. So we're going to have a great conversation today. So why don't you guys quickly introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, I'm Satish Gupta. Basically, I'm IIT Kharagpur and ISB alumnus. I've worked about 12 years in different industries, different space, basically fashion tech space, logistics tech space, and now we are working in education tech space. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much about me. I'd like Utkarsh to introduce himself.
Hi everyone. So I'm Utkarsh, the other co-founder of Skillxpro. I am a lawyer by profession. I did my law from Symbiosis. Before starting Skillxpro, I was practicing in the Bombay High Court. And yes, I've left the practice a couple of years back to start with Skillxpro. And that is where we are.
Thank you for that introduction. So let's just quickly dive in. SkillX Pro, I think it is quite a unique name. So how did you come up with the name for the academy first?
So, George, you see, for to come up with any name, you need three things, right? One is, of course, if there is a relatability to your business or whatever you are doing, whether there is a relatability and kind of people can remember the name. That's the first thing. Whether it's friendly or not, because that's gonna be your domain. And the third thing, of course, related to that is whether you can get a domain.com for that or not. So yeah, so these were the three things. And since we are in the business of basically skilling people and getting them skilled enough to become a professional, so that's how the name came out, Skill Explore, where we impart skills to our learners and impart skills in a way which can actually make them professionals in their life. Because if you see, our basic agenda is to impart skills on the basis of actual world industry needs and not as per the whatever education system or currently universities they teach to the students or learners. So yeah, so that's
Interesting. So would you say, so with that in mind, how would you define your niche in this category?
so see. As far as the niche goes, we are very focused on what we are trying to do. So we are not here to just impart, knowledge per se. Knowledge is of course a part of it, but our focus is imparting real world skills to our students or learners. So, and when we speak about real world skills, it's as good as whenever a person completes a course with us and they go through whatever journey that we take our learners through. They will be actually be able to use those skills and knowledge in real world whenever they are joining an industry or wherever in their professional life. They will be actually be able to use those skills, and that's where our focus lies, and that's why we tie up with a lot of industry experts to generate this content. It's not like we make these content basis of our own knowledge or whatever. It's we use people who are absolutely on top of in their fields in this fields we are targeting. As of now, it's law because Utkarsh comes from a law background and he has got immense knowledge in this, and that's why we are focused on law as a subject as of now. Yeah, but sooner or later we would be getting into other industries also. And if you see the kind of people or kind of companies whom we tie up, top law firms of the country, uh, DSK Legal or Kenan or Sadula Machan Mangaldas, or there are so many courses on our on the website where these master classes as well as full online courses are being imparted by these people. And of course, we bring a lot of elements where we are bringing expertise from different universities also
Okay.
to design this curriculum that can help students really gain those skills which is required in the industry.
So you touched upon a great point there that you are using the expertise and thought leadership of
Right.
experts already in the market. So that's one great way of creating content. So Besides, so how do you actually create content when you have these experts and thought leaders available for your
So
clients?
I'll let Utkarsh answer this question because he is the one who leads the content generation part for us, and he plays a pivotal role in every content that we are making, we have made yet.
So, George, as I think Satish mentioned that the most important part is creating that. Now online there are a lot of content available, right?
Yeah.
What we talk about any industry, maybe lesser in, but in most of the industry there are a lot of content available. So it's important that when you are delivering a product or if you are promising something to your customer, right, or the user, right, it's important that there is reach and then there is quality, right? So I think as far as Skillxpro is concerned, the first thing is experts, which Satish already mentioned. Now, these are people who are already in the industry for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? And they have been excelling in their respective professions, right? And it's also important that it's not just any person from that industry, but the
Hmm.
person who specializes in it, right?
Yeah.
For example, if I say about law, right? Now in law, there are various practice areas,
Hmm.
right? In each practice areas, there are experts, right? So you need to start with them. You need to first understand that what kind of experience they have and what
Hmm.
kind of value add they can give to your users, right? And then select them and get the post created. Now, before we actually go to the post creation, it's also important that how do you prepare the curriculum. That's the first part of it, right? So one, the curriculum has to be in sync with what your product is trying to want to achieve, right? So which is upskilling for us, right? So it can't be your usual thing which is going to be learned in your college, right? It has to be much more than that. And second, it has to be relatable to the actual profession, right? That is what upskilling is, right? So that is where the curriculum comes in. That the curriculum is verified by everyone. The experts in the industry are your users, right? It also has to sync with what they want to learn, right? Obviously, while we are teaching, also important that we refer to some of the admissions within the industry as well, right? So I think that's one of the most important part. And once you have the curriculum right, and then obviously the second part where who are these experts who are finally teaching,
Hmm.
right? So I think these are the two major steps which we generally incorporate while creating content as such.
Great, and I think you've touched upon one key aspect also, that your content is not just something that is available on YouTube or in colleges. It is custom created for your target audience per se. So, how do you decide then that who is your target audience? Is it somebody who's come fresh out of college? Is it somebody first 5 years of the career, or beyond that as well?
So, George, if I can take that, who is the target audience? I think that comes when you are basically creating your business model, right? I mean, you can't just start a online education platform and say that I create content which will be beneficial to everyone. A person who may be a student of a school, college, and somebody who's in a profession, right? So you need to, while you are thinking of creating a content or you're thinking of starting an online education platform, I think this is one of the first questions which you have in mind that if I'm going to a specific sector, what kind of audience do you target, right? So for as far as Skillxpro is concerned, the major target audience are students who are in their college, right? And maybe people who are in the profession for 2 3 years who are still looking to upskill, right? Now, upskilling obviously it's a continuous process. It can go after even 7 to 8 years down the line, right? But still, while you're creating a content, it's very important that you have that target audience in mind. So for us, it has been very clear from day one, right? So as Satish mentioned, we are literally bridging the gap between the college education and the profession itself. So I think by that very meaning, the your target audience is very simple, which is one, the college students who are looking to upskill, right? Who are looking to go into the profession, or maybe who have started their profession but still want to upskill and get a better acceleration to the career at their very initial stage. So I think the target audience is something which is very basic, and that is something which you will decide on day one while you are
Yeah.
creating content or starting your edtech platform.
Yeah, that's a great value add information right there, and I think it is very logical also that somebody would want to focus on the target audience first after they have decided their niche, and then the course curriculum and content outline starts actually. So now the niche is done, the target audience has been decided, the course is ready. How do you get the word out there? What has been your experience in terms of getting people on the site, creating that awareness for your brand? How have you guys done that?
Sadiq, you are speaking, or should I take it?
So I mean, we both can give in our views on this. So, the first step is to really let people understand what you are doing, right? And what value are you going to add to that person's life, right? Any business, it's all about what sort of problems you are going to solve for your target audience, right? So the first step of reaching out for us was to hold webinars like you are doing right now with us. We held a lot of webinars with our target audience. We reached out to a lot of colleges, and again, since our whole proposition is around giving that knowledge or skill through an expert. So we brought in a lot of experts to deliver these webinars for us, and these experts would again talk about niche subjects or niche areas where we are working specifically, per se right now it's law. So there we started to connect with our audience and started to really understand what are their needs, what are their expectations in terms of what they are looking for, and then slowly transition them to actually enrolling the course. And that's the first step. Once we get an idea what sort of audience is really interested in what we are offering, and then we take this and go digital with that. Once we have all the parameters set, then we go digital. We are currently using digital media such as Facebook, Google search, display,
Okay.
and Facebook not so much, but Instagram is what really works for us because
Interesting.
of the audience or demographics that we have. Instagram is where we really are getting those return on spends that we make. So yeah, so that's how. And again, to keep the audience engaged, we heavily use email marketing as a part of our marketing strategy, because that's how you can keep the then a lead which is not very which is sort of cold lead also can be made warm and then can be converted if you keep interacting with them, if you keep try to understand through automation tools of email marketing that whether that what is if that the lead is looking for, and can you actually find a value for that person, right? It's all about value add, right? In any business, if you are able to add value to a person, that person will respond to you, they will pay you. So, right, so that's in all our activities. We just try to play a lot with all the parameters that we have got in different channels, and through that we get a lot of data, and then we analyze the data to really understand what would work for a certain cohort, and then
Right.
do those things with the cohort, and the cohort will respond. So that's how we have been doing our marketing basically as of now.
So you mentioned that you're primarily using Instagram rather than Facebook, which is unique to your business.
Right.
Generally, the feedback we have received from academy creators is that Google search or Google Ads primarily is more expensive for them, but Facebook is the gold mine because
Right.
there's everybody on Facebook. So
Right.
your input here is different from what others have said so far. So why do you think there is benefit for you in Instagram more than Facebook?
It's to do with the target audience. Age of
Hmm.
our target audience is somewhere between 17 and 25, right?
Okay.
More towards 17 to 21, because our
Okay.
target audience are mostly college students or somebody who has passed out from college, say in a
Mhm.
year or two, and these people are more and more they are turning away from Facebook and moving more towards Instagram. And since Instagram is owned by Facebook, so Facebook marketing does a good
Yeah.
job, putting all those audiences there and putting my money in Instagram, because they learn from their own algorithms that where is it return is doing well. And so that's how Instagram has been working better for us. And so, you know, even for our social media marketing, which is really putting out those posts and different content that we create, we are also focused heavily on Instagram designed or Instagram specific posts. So are there, and that's where we want engagement to happen. And once you engage the audience, and then you can, actually try to make them a warm lead, and then try to convert them, and that those all things can happen later. Yeah.
Interesting. And there are questions already coming in from the users. So I'll just park it when we reach that segment, and I'll bring it up later. I just wanted to quickly ask you one more question on that. You spoke about engagement on the social media platforms, and one hot 2021 hot tip for academies or anybody building a business is for engagement is communities. Have you looked at building an online community for yourself besides just a standard Facebook and Instagram?
So yeah, Utkarsh would be in better position to answer that.
Yeah, so I think more than just social media, it's also we are trying to create a community within our platform itself, right?
Nice.
So one is once you create a community of your learners together, right? So the channels to provide for them to just instead of learning individually, but do like a learning exercise altogether, right? So one is that that can be done for the users themselves, right? So that you can interact with their peers and learn from them as well. The second is creating a community of students as well as the learners, right? Now, the students as well as the trainers, all right? No, so, again, when these people are connected to the trainers, I think one, the kind of learning they have is better. And also, I think generally for learners, they are very interested in interacting with the trainers as well. Specifically, we talk about doing them through sector experts, right? So these are experts, these are people who they want to work with, who they want to connect with in future, right? So if you have a community, if you create a digital community for them within their platform, the add-on benefits, add-on advantage for both for the learners as well as for the trainers who are training them so that they can get feedback, they can evaluate the student and in various ways. So these are two things that we are also trying to do for creating this digital community of learners as well as the trainers.
So is this an online community that you're building within the academy, or is there a different solution? When I say online, I mean within the academy, do you have a community enabled, or are you using a specific solution that helps you build that community and moderate it?
No, so it's online. For example, say while the user is doing a course. One option is for him to directly connect with other users through discussion portal, etc. Right? And the second part is then you do, for example, if you have a pre-recorded course, right? You supplement it with some live webinars or live session or just an interactive session, so that the trainers who are there on the pre-recorded videos, right? Plus the learners who are looking at your pre-recorded videos, they have a chance to connect in all ways. One, it can be just something related to the subject, or it can be just general about how the profession is, what they do, what they not do, so anything about it, right? So that is how these are several ways of connecting them and trying to create a community around that.
Thank you so much for that information. So I'll just quickly take up this question. I think this is quite a critical one, and I think that is where our next segment of this webinar is going in any case. Now, you mentioned that for Facebook and you've been trying to get leads and build a community through Facebook and primarily Instagram. What about targeting businesses or B2B model? Have you, and that's what the question is by Shrajan Rastogi. Do you see a merit taking such a business at a B2B level? And if yes, then how?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there is of course a merit in taking this to a B2B level. Uh, Having said that, we are really focused on doing it B2C right now. But yeah, B2B is always possible because especially when it comes to a lot of companies, they hire a lot of freshers who again are coming from a similar background where they have been given a a classic university education, and then these companies, they spend a lot of money in training these people to be really able to deliver as per the needs of the company, right? So the B2B way of going into is to tie up with these companies and then train their people or train their new joinees or person who wants to upgrade their skills. We can actually upgrade, use our platform and our expertise to train those people. So that's the way to go about B2B. But yeah, right now we are not focused on that because we believe in that you have to crack one thing first and then move to second things. Otherwise, there will be too many eggs in a basket. So yeah.
Okay, great. So, but ultimately, in the long term, you probably will think about it, but not right now. Is that what you're saying?
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll come back to the original question that I asked initially, and in terms of the ads that you're running on Instagram, what is the kind of conversion and the returns that you're getting on that platform?
So Instagram typically, you know, on an average, it would give us about 3 to 4 of return on ad spends. 3 to 4 times of whatever you spend is what we make in terms of revenue. But then it's an average, right? Because
Okay.
any, any digital marketer would know this that there is no one, magic solution to really know what will work for you, right? Of course, learn things by doing and trying a lot of things. So you
Hmm.
have to play with a lot of factors, such as you have to play with your creatives, kind of placements that you're doing, kind of audience you are targeting. There are a whole lot of things that you have to play with, and then you have to do a lot of A, B, C, D testing, right? And then really you will be able to know that, okay, this is one thing which is really working out for me, and then you should scale those things up. So that's how we have been doing this. So what we typically do, we create few creatives, and then we test it on different audience, and then
Hmm.
also there is placements also, how you
Hmm.
place it on stories or somebody's
Yeah.
this thing. And then you really figure out from the data, all the data that you get, what is working best for you and where should you put real money. And that's how you scale those things. So yeah. So typically 3 to 4 for us as of now.
Okay. And to that, there's already a question that has come in by ICJP Academy. They're saying if we
Right.
want to hit a certain growth target, can we just simply spend more money on a Facebook or Instagram in this case to get more sales or something else?
See, I mean, Facebook would love, the answer to this question is yes. But honestly, I feel that there is always, uh, a critical level or a critical point where you reach, and then you start making money, or Facebook is making money out of you.
Yeah.
Because that's how Facebook, I believe, is designed as an algorithm where they want to make the most money out of you. So whatever you do, whatever you run, after a certain point of time, it will, giving you a lot of impressions without conversions, right? And that's where your curve will start dipping in terms of your returns on whatever spends you are making. So simply spending money is not enough. What is in, I mean, again, depends on the academy, what sort of academy is this, but engaging those audience, and if you are into a business where there is a possibility of return customers,
Mm.
then engaging those audience through different channels, not just by Facebook, but a lot of email content marketing. If you do all of those things, then yeah, then you tend to always get better returns. But yeah,
Yeah.
typically I would say, and again, if you are working on your SEO, then
Mhm.
in the long run, that will also help in reducing your cost, because uh, I have also seen that Google Ads, the cost is very high of running Google Ads, but it will always happen that uh, to have that, and specifically it happens because a lot of academies are bidding for the same things, and that's why Google will always put a high price on the click. But what happens is, if you keep working on your SEO, with time, it will give you a much better result than what a Facebook or a Google ad or a display ad can ever give you. Right? So that's where I think a balance need to be maintained and a constant effort has to be put in SEO specifically so that in long run you get results which are much better. And of course, there's nothing better than the word of mouth marketing. It's
Yes.
absolute gold. I feel in my book it's an absolute gold, and that will only happen if you are giving that sort of customer experience and customer result, right? Whatever the customer is looking for. And then when this person will speak about you, there is no better marketing on earth than word of mouth marketing. Yeah.
Very true. I mean, your customer is your best brand ambassador. I think
Right.
very true. So on that note, there's another question that somebody has asked here. Abhi22 is coming on the screen now. How do you create the course outline? What should I add or delete? I think he's trying to create a course for himself and he's trying to figure out whatever the niche be, how do you decide what has to be there and what should be removed?
I'd like Utkarsh
Yeah.
because he's an expert, absolute expert in this.
Something similar to what we discussed, George. So,
Yes.
one is your target audience, and
Hmm.
second is what subject you are looking for, right?
Hmm.
Once you have a subject in place, for example, for us, it's upskilling, right? So for me, it becomes very, very important that through after the learner goes through the upskilling process we have, right? What is the final outcome he's wanting to achieve, right? So looking from that perspective, it becomes important that these are XYZ skills, knowledge,
Hmm.
or training material, which I should train him so that tomorrow he really feels that it finally adds value to his CV or his relevant process, and that is what his finest profession would want him to do, right? So as far as upskilling is concerned, you go to various stakeholders, right? You check with the experts who are already in the market for 10, 20 years, right? Ask them as to what they are looking for. Say if you want to join a private equity practice, right? What are XYZ skills which you would expect from a student, a law student maybe, right? You maybe with suggestions, and so those are things that we include, right? Now, they can be very technical about stuff, right? So they give you the technical aspects of it, but at the same time, you know that your learner needs to learn from the very basics, right? So then, while preparing the curriculum, that then it becomes important that you add those basic features to your course, and then go to that technical expertise which the court is looking for, right? So this is where that is something which you will understand from your user himself as to what level is he in, right? And what is the learning stage where we need to start the curriculum from, and the final outcome will be told by the experts. So while you have the reference of these 2 points, again, as a subject expert, I being a lawyer, I can understand these two things. This is where you create the curriculum, and as I mentioned, the final goal is that one, uh, you need to include things which you feel should be achieved by a student to ultimately achieve what your course is supposed to provide. Right?
Hmm.
So if you
Yeah.
have that XYZ material included and that is streamlined and sequenced in a proper way so that you can actually understand what you're looking for, I think that is where your curriculum will be very helpful for you.
And in fact, customer feedback will also tell you what is missing that they would want to learn,
Right.
and you add that content as you go.
Prepared, I think, George, that is where the customer feedbacks come from. Your
Yeah.
existing customers who are already doing your course, right? We receive a lot of suggestions, feedback from you. And obviously, while we are creating content, it's also important for us to reevaluate and keep modifying those content as and when we receive the feedback, right? And which is an ongoing process. It also has to do with not just customer feedback, but how the market is changing,
Yes.
right? So that is a ongoing process. So, right.
And one thing I
So,
would like to add here is, if we are talking about a self-learning environment here, you know,
hmm,
it's it's a known fact that motivation levels are very low when you are going for a self-learning sort of environment, right?
hmm,
So the real question is, while creating the outline, how do you create that course outline so that a learner is motivated to move to the next section of your course? And
hmm,
what can you do? What elements can you add to your course so that he is excited about the next section. Now, that could be anything. That could be something that you are referring to in your course, this section, that something will be exciting will be happening in the next section, or whatever gamification elements. I don't know, whatever. That's totally a person who's developing those things. But that is something somebody everybody needs to keep in mind. Whoever is creating a course, whether you are creating that sort of excitement in the learner so that he is motivated enough to go to the next section. And that motivation has to come from self, because it's a self-learning course. Now, if it's a live learning environment, then then there are a lot of things again which will work differently there, because
Yeah.
really interact with the learner all the time to keep them motivated. You can do pressure tactics on the learner to come to the next class. Then that's a different ball game. But yeah, always important point to keep in mind is how can you keep the motivation levels of your learner high so that he is willing to go to the next step. Not everybody would be self-motivated. It's a big myth that whatever course you make and people will dive for that course and they will complete the course, because it's a fact that only 10% of people actually complete the course, which are self-learning mode. So yeah, that's my 2 bits there.
So, on that note, we have another question that has shown up here from Pari, who's asking, when did you think to take the academy online, and why not a physical space? And of course, when you guys started this last year when Corona was at its peak, just around that time. But eventually, when the world is now as it is opening up, do you think a physical space is needed or in the plans?
See, it's not about when,
Hmm.
why. The
Yeah.
question should be really, why do we are we doing it online and not physically?
Yeah.
There's so many uh, aspects or factors of it. One is, of course, physical space. You can manage, only those many people, or you have to have that kind of infrastructure to actually do things in a physical space. And then there are a lot of costs involved in managing things in a physical space. And when the whole world is moving online, and everybody, even a country like India, where we have about 900 million people with access to, are getting access to smartphones by the end of this year, reaching out to them at a cost effective way, where actually they are getting bang for their buck, and they're
Yeah.
actually getting the value for the money that they are paying. It's not possible in a physical space. Of course, you can actually do that at a later stage of the company, but for a company to start with, uh,
Hmm.
the online is the way to go. And if you are going physical, then you have to keep in mind that you have to do a lot of unnecessary expenditure in terms of infrastructure and managing those infrastructure, and then you have to keep people to manage everything else that comes with the physical space. So rather, uh, online should be the way, not for us only, but for, I feel, that every other company who wants to start into education space.
You're absolutely right. And I think the demand is also changing. The regular 9 to 5 college, nobody wants it anymore. I want to study on my weekend, 1 hour after lunch or whatever. So that on-demand learning is really obviously has taken quite an improvement. So one question that is already showing up on the screen is Rohit is asking. There are already so many courses available, online or physical. How did you know yours will do well? And I think you've already answered it in bits and pieces. But beyond that, do you think when you were trying to start off, you knew that this will do well?
See, the answer is, you never know what will sell well
Sure.
or what will not sell well, right? You never know. It's your belief that what you are doing, and then your research, and then how much you have interacted with your audience in whatever ways you can,
Mhm.
and how much you really understand that, right? And then again, I keep on mentioning the same thing. What value can you add to your consumers or your
Yeah,
customers,
very
right?
true.
Know that you are adding a real value and you are solving a problem of that person, then you can be 100% assured that that thing will sell, right? And that's the only way to know that whether your course will sell or not.
So I wanted to also bring up one more point here, or actually discuss with Utkarsh. So you basically said that when you were making the, or when you were creating the content, you got a lot of experts and thought leaders to participate. Now, what format is that? Is that text? Is that video? How did you go about creating that video content?
So you're talking about the final content.
Yeah.
So those are some of it, right? Now, so talking about people lectures, right? The usual way we go about it, right? Now, there is a limit to which any person can spend time on a video. Right? Even when someone is watching a video, even for a learner, right? If that's something which has been researched on, there is a specific time limit to which user is actually interested in the video, and then he loses interest specifically while we're talking about the learning content. Right? So it can't just be video; it has to be supplemented by multiple other things, right? So when we say about creating content with experts, it's not just the video; it's also some reading content, which we generally encourage our learner to do it before a specific lecture and also after a specific lecture, right? Now, the reading which is before the lecture is, just giving them an introduction or an overview as to what will be happening in the lecture which they will be looking at. And the reading which they will be doing post lecture will be more like a supplemental reading with the topics which have been discussed in the lecture. They have a much detailed understanding through that reading material, right? So that's one way of doing it. Second is, as Satish mentioned, there can be few ways of gamification. There can be few ways of making your existing video content more interactive, if I may say, right? So there you can add some kind of polls. You can have some kind of quizzes, which are one, it's interacting with the users, and at the same time, it's also giving them some knowledge, right? So it has to be all. Then there's also assessments, right? Now, assessments for us, it's more than just trying to see as to how much they have learned. It's also to also prepare them for their profession, right? So the kind of work which they do during the profession, that is something we try to replicate it as our assessments, right? So one, they are experiencing what they will be actually doing in the profession through what they have learned on our platform, right? And at the same time, obviously, since it's the assessment, so we also understand and our end goal, the employers also understand as to what these people are capable of, right? So when we talk about learning, it can be through your lectures, your videos, your content, as well as the assessments. So I think all clubbed together will create a best package for the learner to learn from.
Great. So I'm assuming, so basically, then people who do really well, is there a career support also available for people who have finished a course, or just the certification actually helps them quite a lot in their careers?
Sorry, George, your voice is breaking for me. Can you repeat?
Okay. So yeah, so I'm saying, in terms once a person finishes the courses, is there an extension available with in terms of career support to them?
Right. So correct. So George, I mean the assessments which we were talking about is basically one of the connection between your training and the career support. So to answer your question, yes, we do have career support which is supplemented along with our courses, right? So leveraging all the data we have during the course, we are able to provide career support to students, prepare them for their interviews, prepare them for their internships. So, things have to go hand in hand. Yes. Whatever training they're having, the idea is that they leverage it and get the end result. Right? So, to answer your question, yes, there is career support, which is parallel with the courses. Yeah.
In fact, we have helped few students, in fact many students, getting placed in different law firms and corporates. That
Right.
is completely offline though, which we are doing. It's not online, but yeah, offline we help our students to actually get placed as interns or in a full-time role with
Hmm.
different law firms and corporates.
Amazing. And so there's obviously there's just not just the learning element, there's also the career support. And I'm sure in this entire journey, there'll be a lot of questions that and customer service issues that might crop up during the journey. So how have you looked at automating some of this, or is it anything of that sort done?
So See, I think there is this facility available on Nourish for automating with. Uh, I forgot the name of the software. There is some software that you guys have, right? Uh, Whatever the name is. But yeah, I mean, right now, since we are at a certain level, we feel that we have to reach a critical mass to actually, automate. And in terms of how many, what percentage of the customers that you have are really raising issues, right? For us, that percentage must be less than 2-3%, where we really have issues with the customer, going through some sort of problem. So right now, for us, it's a manual. We are not really using any automation tool as well. But yeah, I do understand that there is a tool on your platform where somebody can sign up and use that as a tool. But it totally depends on what's the volume of complaints or whatever customer issues that you are getting.
Great. And so we are almost out of time. So I just wanted to quickly ask you, how has your experience been so far in using knowledge over the past year? And if you could share any insights of how other academies could actually use some tips or hacks from knowledge.
So yeah, it was the best thing was that the time to start a whole online platform was really small for us. So, I mean, we started in about 10 to 15 days from the date we decided that yeah, we would be going with Nourish. Although there are so many platforms similar to Nourish available out there. But the simplicity of the platform, I would say, and you can really tweak the platform in a very hands-on manner, which I think most platforms really not provide. And if you are little, into tech and you know a little bit of coding, then you can actually do a lot of things while at on the platform itself. And that's what we did, right? We started with a very basic thing in 10 days, and then we kept on improving it by adding a lot of custom elements into the whole platform. Yeah, so yeah, that way it was great. And then there are so many things which you can link, such as Google Analytics or Facebook ads, Facebook pixels, or customer support. And then there are so many slew of features which I think really helps for any business who is serious about their academy or the business. They would need these tools to be connected with their platform, and that's where Nourish was pretty much very handy. And any non-technical person can also do that, the whole thing, and you really don't need a developer or anybody to really set that up for you. And that brings to the last part, was of course whatever issues happened in between, whatever support we needed. I mean, you guys were really on the money on that, and in fact has been very helpful. And whatever special features or whatever I asked for, given that I do know a little bit of tech, and he was very keen in providing all those features to me. So yeah, in that way it was great.
Right. I
Thank you
think
so
just
much.
to add on to Satish mentioned
Please.
that, without much technical background, for example, I'm a lawyer, right? I don't really have a tech background. I think even for me, I did not take a lot of time to get hang of to use knowledge. Obviously, there are more technical aspects, like cases, etc., which require coding and other steps, which need, which where you will need help of a technical experts. But at the same time, it's fundamental aspect. I think even for me, that wasn't a very difficult task. So yeah, in that way, it was quite interesting.
Thank you so much for that. So that yeah, thank you so much for that for those compliments. We've been really working on making sure that the platform is easy to use, and by probably by the end of this month or probably halfway through the next month, we're even in fact bringing in the first live events solution. So you'll be able to actually go live from the platform itself. There'll be more information coming on that later. But thank you, Satish and Utkarsh, for this lovely time. We've got to learn a lot, I hope. And anybody who couldn't really ask the questions can send them across to us.
Thanks, George, for having us. It was great talking to you.
Thank you.
Same here. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.